Let's bring in CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader Tom Mulcair. Good to see you, Tom.
Good to be with you, Renee.
So, Tom, it seems like another day, another tariff threat from the president. Devil may care about what the Supreme Court says. And while this latest threat doesn't specifically target Canada, really there's no telling what could come next. So how should Ottawa be responding to all of this right now?
Well, there was one part of Trump's over-the-top reaction, because of course he never loses, so he didn't actually lose the Supreme Court case. He's just been pushed to a better solution. But there's one part that's stuck with me. He said there are other things that he could do, which is true. Are they going to be legal? Probably not, and they can only last 6 months in the case of these 10 or 15% tariffs. But he said, then it'll go to the courts and it'll take 2 years to litigate. This is the Trump maneuver. This is the Trump modus operandi. This is what he's done all his life. What's the escape clause? What can we plead before the courts? Let's just keep stalling this thing out. And so it's chaotic. And what's starting to show up, Renee, in the figures that even his hand-picked statisticians, because don't forget, he fired the person in charge of labor and economic statistics in the States to put in one of his own people to give him better news. Well, even those statistics are starting to show increasing inflation. The cost of a full-size American car during the year and a bit that Trump's been there has gone up thousands of US dollars. People are starting to see that in their grocery bills, in everything that they have to buy, because everything's become more expensive. What that means is that Trump has been using his abilities to con people into believing that the money from the tariffs was just falling from heaven into the US Treasury. But in fact, now they're starting to understand exactly what the Supreme Court said, that Donald Trump has put his presidential hand in their pocket to tax them because they're paying those tariffs. And that's the nub of the Supreme Court decision. The judges said, the majority of them, is that only Congress can tax, Trump cannot tax, and that's why he lost the case, no matter what he says.
Now, in terms of the Supreme Court decision, does it provide Canada with some leverage as we negotiate with the Americans, or does Donald Trump's latest move to up these new global tariffs to 15% sort of negate that?
It does on certain products, but you're quite right when you point out that the Canada-US-Mexico trade deal covers well over 80% of our trade with the U.S. So we do have a bit of a saving grace with that. And people tend to forget that there is a negotiation that's scheduled, that's planned, that's part of the deal. There has to be a renegotiation in 2026. But what a lot of people don't remember is that the deal says if for whatever reason they don't come to a new deal, the current one, Canada-US-Mexico, stays in force until 2036, another 10 years. So again, it's good news and bad news, because nobody likes the chaos that is being wrought on the world economy by Donald Trump. For now, on a rising froth of unreal profits and expectations, the stock markets are doing well. Trump points to that. He says that he's getting better control of the Fed and so forth. It's not true. He can't continue with this. It's a monumental international Ponzi scheme being manipulated by the great storyteller, Donald Trump. And it's going to come crashing down in one form or another over the coming months or years. But in the meantime, it is being paid for by the average American consumer and the entire world markets that are suffering as a consequence.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Tom, thank you very much for this.
Good to be with you, Renee. All the best.
You as well. That's CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader Tom Mulcair.